Start streaming. Let me see what will happen. All right, let me see what's going on. Edit. All right, it looking Althea tell. Hold on. Hold on. Episode 3. So we're doing self-care for this episode, and we're talking about how how is gratitude important to the self-care? How is gratitude important to self-care, and how can you pull gratitude out of toxic environments or traumatic
Mm,
experiences, right?
right.
Yeah, so that's going to be what we're talking about. So let me see if YouTube is going to allow me to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So how is gratitude essential to the self-care conversation?
Yeah.
And how can you pull gratitude from toxic environments? So without further ado, we are going to just jump right in, and hopefully technology is going to continue to work for us on our end. So for those who came back in, thank you so much. Those are watching on the replay, thank you so much. On the line, I have Althea Fraser. Althea is a holistic practitioner. She is from Ontario, specifically Brampton. On the page, you're going to see two videos from Althea. It's a 1 minute intro, and there's another one is a little longer than 1 minute. You feel free to take a listen to those just to get a little bit more insight on how Althea is going to bring what she does, her genius, to the mirror work conversation table. And as I said, this is our third episode. So thank you so much, Althea, for coming to the table and bringing your expertise as a holistic practitioner to this conversation of mirror work and how self care is part of the mirror work conversation, and how gratitude we talk about gratitude. Everybody, I've heard gratitude, many of us have heard gratitude, right? A gratitude journal. And we heard
Mm-hmm.
of self-care. Many think self-care is external, going to the spa, having your self-care day. Some people know that self-care is a little bit deeper than that, where is self-care is, separating yourself from toxic relationships. But
Yes.
how is gratitude essential to the self-care conversation, and how can we pull gratitude from toxic relationships and environments? Some people will be like, depending on how traumatic the situation is, they're like, I cannot see anything grateful about my experience, right?
Right.
You and I,
Yeah.
talked about that yesterday. We touched a little bit on it, and I shared on my Instagram how I was able to pull gratitude from my toxic environments. And it's again mindset shift. And you're not saying you're grateful for the incident. You're not saying you're
No.
grateful for the traumatic incident. What you're grateful for is what you've now decided to look into the situation, the experience, and what out of that was beneficial to you. What out of that made you, again, could make you stronger, made you more aware? What muscle did it build? What awareness did it
Oh
build?
no. Hello?
Right. So
Uh,
that's what I'm seeing. And that's what I saw from my ability to pull something grateful out of a negative situation. So without further ado, we can just jump in, and you can just start off the conversation wherever you feel your energy is leading towards starting the conversation. Are you still there, love? And I think technology bumped her off again. We're gonna have this conversation. We are going to have this conversation. Nothing's gonna stop us. Ain't nothing stopping us from having this conversation. So it's gonna happen. It's going to happen.
Hello.
I'm right here, baby girl.
Okay. I don't know what happened, but it
It's
just went dead on my end. So I said, let me just log out and log
Yep,
back in.
it's okay. And I said we're
Um,
gonna have this conversation no matter what. We're gonna have this
yeah,
conversation, right?
exactly. Because it has to be it has to be had, right?
Obvious,
So,
yes.
yeah, so let me know when you want me to jump
Oh
in,
yeah,
Opa.
right. Yeah, right now.
Awesome. Okay, well, thanks for having me on this call. This is amazing. And I know that you and I have been talking a lot about the importance of having these types of conversations alongside with the beautiful pieces of workshops that we were, have, and will continue to put together. Just talking about different segments and coming from our area of experience and or expertise. So when we talk about self-care, like you said, it's a multifaceted thing and it looks different for everybody. I also feel that at the end of the day, the root cause is the same, and it's to ideally better yourself. So, better yourself from a long day, better yourself from a long situation, experience. It could be personal, work related, relationship related, your own individual growth related. It could be about parenting, friendships, companionships, personal interactions with people for different reasons. It could be from volunteer work. There's so many things. And when it comes to being able to take care of ourselves, it looks different for everybody. But ultimately, it's about making yourself feel better. And so if you take a step further and you're bringing it up, talking about gratitude, gratitude is one of those universal energies that helps people to understand the gifts that either they have within themselves, that they've been given by others, and it could be someone you've known for years, months, or it could be a complete stranger. And it's about taking that step to go a little deeper and say, okay, I didn't have the greatest relationship, or I didn't have the greatest childhood, or my work experience at this company wasn't the greatest. But what are some of the things that I could think about that actually worked in my favor? And as you start to really dissect what that looks like, it's amazing how long your list can become just with the most simple of things. It can start with, that you're able to breathe, that you woke up, right? That you have a bed to sleep in, you had a pillow to lay your head on. Um, you're healthy, right? Someone might pass you and say, "Hey, you've got great hair." Well, that's something to be grateful for. Someone's recognizing you and celebrating you for having great hair. What that does on a universal level is it shifts the energy of what might be happening in your life. So we all have our bouts, we all have our stories, our experiences, and everything is energy. So it doesn't matter if you identify yourself as a spiritual person, non-spiritual person, someone who knows about it but you don't really practice it, you don't practice meditation. It's totally fine, right? All different walks of life. Everybody's coming from a different space, but everybody can also take a moment to identify something great that happened in their life. And that alone can shift the ability to make different choices, have better experiences, look at people in a different light, and also attract like-minded people. That if you're looking for a certain type of project, business, partner, um, home, all those things, just from being grateful for something or things, will allow that to elevate. It also takes you out of that space that you might be stuck in, of all the things that are not working for you. So a lot of times when I'm working with clients and we're trying to figure out maybe a skin routine for them, or they could be looking to, go on a protocol for health purposes, one of the things I always recommend and ask is, what are you grateful for? Can you name one thing? Yes. What? Then name something. Great. Can you name another thing? Awesome. And we just keep building and building and building from there. And what they realize is that whatever they walk into, no matter how heavy it is, it just doesn't feel as heavy. And I know from my own personal experiences of even being in the process of grieving family members who have passed away in a very short amount of time, that also helps me. And that's my outlet and my route. Because as sad as I can feel, as heavy as my heart feels at times, as thick as it feels that I'm in this grief, there's something to make me smile. There's something about a memory with them to make me smile. And I get that some people don't have that type of connection that I had with my family. So I feel extremely blessed that I did. I also believe that there's something that you can be grateful for. So even if you can't attribute it to a loved one who has transitioned, you can attach it to something that you really like. It could be as simple as a cup of coffee or a cup of tea, or having a tea break at a certain time every day, and that's your way of unwinding and creating some self-care time for you. That's your you time. Maybe that's the only time you have out of the day outside of being around people or kids or your partner or work, but that's your time and that's your self care. And that is very much something to be grateful for. So there's a myriad of reasons, and there's a ton of things that we can think about if we really just allow ourselves to go there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Instead of just sitting in that space of, again, like what's not working, how much you hurt. I get all that. And, nobody's dismissing it by any means, because everybody has the right to feel how they feel. And I guess the best thing, what I can say is, even when I'm feeling the lowest of low for whatever I'm going through, I just also ask to be present so I don't stay in that low, right? Because energy is literally like a magnet. You put a magnet and you put a coin beside it, the magnet attracts the coin. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're a magnet and you have all these different thoughts coming to you, right? You're attracting those thoughts. You're attracting the outcome. And some people don't even realize that they're doing it until it's happening, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's that perfect scenario. I'll never forget when I was still working in corporate and I woke up and I was in a bad mood. And no, in this moment, I did not do my gratitude list. And I I was just I was super crunchy. I was super crunchy. And I remember I missed my GO train. There was something that was an order that was supposed to come in from my boss. It got held up. And so I was on the phone with like the company and customs for more than half of my day. And at the time, I was supporting the president of the company and the VPs. So needless to say, they're very demanding, right? It's a very demanding role because they have so much responsibility for themselves. So everything that could come at me just came at me, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now my day's done, and I'm like, I can't wait to leave and go home. And so I'm walking to go catch my train. And of course, I left later because of the whole fiasco that happened during the day. And lo and behold, because I was walking so fast and my shoes, I slipped. I
Oh
just
goodness.
went boom, airborne, and I landed on the ground. And I remember just lying there and I started laughing, right? Because I said, of course my day would end up like this. Of course it would. Of
Right.
course I would like have a wipeout on my way to go home. And now I'm gonna miss my train. And it's just it's an icing on the cake for the day that I've had, right?
Right.
And I was laughing. And so these two people ran up to me because they thought I was hurt because I wasn't moving. They're
Right.
like, are you okay? And I
Okay.
said, oh,
Right.
oh yeah, I'm great. This is just, I mean, look, based on the day I had, of course I fell on my ass. That's what I said, right? And they couldn't stop laughing. They're like, so you're okay then? I said, yeah, I'm fine. They're like, you're not hurt. I'm like, nope, it's just the day. It's just the kind of day I've been having. So they're like, oh my gosh, well, we hope your day gets better. So, because like at that point, like, what do you say,
What are you
right?
gonna? Yes.
But I realized I was a magnet to this chaos. So this is why all these crazy things were happening. And I never shifted my energy to identify and say, hey, you know what? I know it was a rough morning, but I'd like to change the trajectory on this and make it a better afternoon, right?
Mm.
And then I would have had more magnetism to better things. But I just kept like, it's like the harder the situation, the bigger it was. And it
Right.
just kept coming at me and coming at me and coming at me. And so I remember I was telling my mom, and my mom was laughing because she thought it was just hilarious that I was just lying there. And she's like, but you're good though. And I said, oh, I'm better now. Right. I had a hot bath, I had a soak, I was good. And guess what I did? I made sure that I did not have the same type of day the next day. So I shifted. And then I
Right.
was like, and even in that moment, I was like, but you know what was great, mom? What was great was like these two people came to see if I was okay. They thought I was crying, but I was actually laughing.
Mm.
And then she started laughing because I said I was laughing because this was like the perfect finale for the day that I had,
Mm.
that wipeout. So even by laughing in that moment,
Mm.
it changed the vibration,
Mm-hmm.
right? It changed the energy. It changed how I wanted my day to be the next day, right? So we make like conscious choices
Yeah.
to shift the energy and be magnetic to what we want,
Yes.
right? And a part of that, again, is about being gratitude. It's showing gratitude, it's exhibiting that. And the true, so if you look up gratitude, one of the meanings that will come up is it's the quality of being thankful. It's the
Mm.
readiness to show appreciation for and to return kindness,
Mm.
right? So when we're able to see the good,
Yes.
even though at the time the bad might like shadow the good at times,
Mm-hmm.
it's only a matter of time before the good starts to overshadow the bad.
Yep.
And what you find is there's this amazing sense of freedom that comes up and surfaces, and then these fantastic resources just come to you, whatever that might look for like for the individual,
Right.
right? So for me, I know that I've just been showered with so much kindness from people, from people in my pack or people that I don't even really know.
Yeah, like those
And
like those people that came to your rescue.
exactly,
Yeah.
right? I didn't know them. They didn't know me. They just said, "Oh my gosh, there's a woman on the floor. Like, let's go check her out." And they were like, they helped me up. They checked on me. They asked me if I wanted water, if I needed something to drink. Like, they were so attentive, right?
Hmm.
And even that, and when I started laughing and they started laughing once they knew I was okay, because they thought it was hilarious that I just did a wipe it and I was having a wicked laugh by myself.
Right, right, right,
Right?
right.
Right? Because then they even said, "We thought you were crying." And I said, "Oh, no, no, no. I'm just having a good laugh at myself right now." And so they started laughing. They're like, we're glad you're okay. Da 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 da. Did one more check in before they went on their way.
Right, yeah, yeah. You
And
want to, yeah.
so, right. And so it was something for me to be like, and I remember saying to my mom, the sweetest people came, la la la. It was so sweet. Right. So it was something to be grateful for.
Yeah,
Right. It wasn't me still being stuck in that space that I had been in for the whole day and not acknowledging someone's act of kindness towards me. Because really and truly, they could have been going anywhere. They could have been leaving work. They could have had the day I had. They
yeah,
could have been going for dinner. They could have been going to hit a movie, have a coffee date, whatever. They didn't have to stop.
yeah.
They didn't have to. And, sadly, some people wouldn't,
And even
right?
that, and even that incident, again, the gratitude of those two women coming to your aid is in reflection at the end of the day. If someone was journaling, and if this is an experience that you could remember as you're listening to
Mm-hmm.
this on the replay, where in your moment of a traumatic incident, an embarrassing incident, whatever it could be on the workplace, an
Mm-hmm.
employee or employer was rude, disrespectful, and then later someone came to you or someone spoke up for you or some. The gratitude is that there's goodness still in the word, right?
Yes.
Being grateful in
Yes.
that moment is like the situation was embarrassing or
Yep.
humiliating or who, depending on how the person decides to classify it. To you, it
Right.
wasn't neither.
Right.
To you, you
Right.
classified it as, yeah, this is the day. Like this is my day. Someone else would be like,
Yeah.
oh my God, I'm so horrified. Oh my God, right? And
Yeah.
how they're like, they would say, lady, oh, how can I find any gratitude out of that? The gratitude is that someone came to your aid. So the gratitude is that there's
Exactly.
still goodness in the world. So I
Absolutely.
am grateful that there's
Yes.
goodness in the world and that goodness came to my aid,
Exactly.
right? So that's
Exactly.
two gratitudes in that one statement, that
Yeah.
you're acknowledging that there's goodness in the world. Someone saw, not everybody, you know, heart was cold. Someone saw, someone put themselves in my shoe, and someone came to
Yeah.
my aid. And I was the
Exactly.
benefactor of that. So I'm grateful for both of those things. And I'm calling
Absolutely.
that into my life even more. I'm calling goodness into my life even more. I'm calling people coming
Exactly.
to my aid even more. But continue.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I mean you hit it right bang on. It's really about that particular scenario, which is one that, that's very it's a good story because it's funny.
Yes.
And it's so accurate for the magnetism, right, of energy and what you could be pulling in because I
Yeah.
had started my day like that and I never shifted it. And so even in that, you know, day of drama and all the not so great things, like you said, there were still things to be grateful for, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing with life. We're going to be thrown so many challenges and hurdles, and we're going to say, okay, well, I've been thrown quite a bit now. I'm going to need some wins,
Yes.
right? And so, and I can say for myself, like even with my current situation, I've stated that, right?
Mhm.
So like I've made that statement to my pack. I've made that statement to myself.
Mhm.
In my meditation, like I'm very clear on that. And so when I see a win,
Mhm.
I document it for gratitude,
Mhm.
because it doesn't make sense for me to be asking for wins and I'm not grateful for it,
Yep.
right? So I never want to be from the space of ingratitude.
Mhm.
So I exhibit gratitude. And even if I'm looking for something bigger, greater, no matter how small it is, I'm grateful for it, because that is a domino effect of the bigger to come. And
Mhm.
that's how you change what your experience might have been like, right? And no
Mhm.
one's saying that you'll forget it, because you shouldn't. You shouldn't forget your experience.
Mhm.
Your experience is a part of your documenting you, right? And
Mhm.
your experience creates the person you are. It doesn't have to control the person you are, but it's helped to contribute in some way. And that's now up to the individual to be like, well, do I want to live in the space of trauma or turmoil, right? Like, do I want this situation, this person, this thing to define me,
Mhm.
or do I want to be the person that I really feel that I can be? And
Yep.
a part to help boost that is to self-investment. And
Yep.
self-investment is self-care. And
Yep.
self-care is gratitude.
Mhm.
It's gratitude. So it never shifts in terms of the fundamentals. It's just about, what do you want, right?
Yep.
Where do you want to go? What do you want? And usually what you want is a good indication of where you want to go,
Yep.
because then you can start to really like segment what that looks like. And you know
Yep.
what? Sometimes it's not clear, and that's okay too.
Yep.
Even still, you can still document and even say it, like you can say it out loud, or you can say, I'm grateful that I'm actually here to be able to decide where I want to go.
Yep.
I'm grateful that I have the freedom to even question where I want to go or what I want, right? There's so many little things that turn into the big things. And so, they always talk about the lotus flower and how beautiful it is, and how important it is for us to remember, while we're admiring this incredible botanical creation, that it actually grows and fosters and develops in muddy water,
There.
water that people would never even look at.
There
They'd be
you
like,
go.
I'm sorry, you want me to step in what? To see what? Why would I do that? Right? Well, sometimes you got to step in the muddy waters to be able to appreciate what's on the other side. And then again, you can talk about how beautiful this lotus is, and the colors, and the silkiness of the flower, right? And the scent, and all these alluring aromatic or tactile things.
Mhm.
That in itself is something to be grateful for,
Mhm.
right?
Yep.
And so again, you're making a shift on what maybe your experience has been versus what you want it to be. And, you know, I know sometimes people are like, I don't know, like I like what you're saying, but I don't have the time to do a gratitude list. And it's like, oh, okay. Well, you might as well invest in something. So don't you want to invest in yourself? because you're investing in all the things that didn't work for you. Like that's what you're focusing on, right? Like you're talking about it and you're telling so and so and you're telling so and so and you're telling so and so. But what's not happening is a solution, right? There's no dialogue around, you know what? That happened to me and I was so hurt. I was so angry. And what I've done is I've shifted that anger into something that I really want to focus on, or that I really appreciate from this scenario, or that I really appreciated someone shared with me today. I really appreciated that I had 5 people to vent to about it, right?
Yeah.
So there's all these little things, like I keep saying, that turn into the big things. And it's definitely it's a road that's been less traveled,
Mm-hmm.
but people are becoming more aware of it now. And it is a very like particular thing. It's very specific, it's very personal. Um, and sometimes it's about getting in our head, right? Getting in our own head and really trying to simplify what is it that drives you? What is it that you really appreciate, and extract family values, take away societal pressures, take away what your job expects from you, or if you're an entrepreneur, what your clients expect from you. Just in that moment, what is it that drives you? Like what makes you tick, right? And when you start to actually really connect with your inner being and who you are, and it could be your inner child even, it's amazing how that starts to materialize into how many things you have to be grateful for.
Yeah.
But it's time. It's time, and it's it's about you really seeing like that you're worth it, right? And yeah, you know what? Maybe a friend, a husband, a wife, uh, an ex-lover, ex-boss, coworker, uh, sibling, like whatever. Maybe they didn't see the value in it for you. There's still time for you to see it for yourself.
And that and that and that's very key, Althea. That's very, very key, because
Yes.
I know um in my mirror work coaching, I try to slow down when I say that because it's a tongue twister.
Yes.
In my mirror work coaching, um, I ensure that I let my clients know this is about you,
Yep.
because sometimes what I have found is that they're coming like many who's coached in the life in the life strategy, transformational life coaching field. You'll get
Right.
clients where they're coming and they're thinking that the problem is the other people, right?
Yes.
and
Yes.
and they're wanting the other people to see the hurt or acknowledge what to them is important. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
you know what? Because they're not my clients, I can't guarantee that they're ever going to, right?
Right.
So
Right.
when you said, maybe those people didn't see it for you, I have to remind them that this is about them seeing the value in what they're doing for themselves. It's for them to
Absolutely.
see the value that I need to get this pattern, especially because my mirror coaching has evolved to very laser focused to mothers and women getting who are leaving out
Mm-hmm.
of toxic environments, narcissistic relationships. I always say who are leaving because I don't assist them in coming out. Because
Right.
I've said, because this is this thing, and I've dabbled into the political arena to assist, right?
Mm-hmm.
When we had the shift federally and provincially. And I said this, the leader of the New Blue Party had called back, Jim Carahalios, and he was doing the call around to thank everybody for their efforts. And he was asking me if I was going to um, run and, again for municipal, and also, my future outlook, right?
Right.
In the party. And me, Althea, I'm very, very transparent. Sometimes, not sometimes, I find my transparency is still unnerving to many people because they're so used to people faking, or they're so used to
Mm-hmm.
people saying one thing but not really meaning it.
Right.
So I told him my feedback straight up, in the fact
Mm-hmm.
that no, I am not going to be doing the municipal, the counseling. And even at that time, many were asking me about trustee, and I was like, I'm like, no, I don't think I'm the right one, right?
Right.
And at that point, that was my decision. But for sure, I know I wasn't doing municipal for counselor, and for sure, it wasn't going to be anything else under a party. And I said the reason why is, I said I am not the one to go and convince people that they are in pain. I am not the
Mm-hmm.
one to go out there and pull you out of your house and say, look around, there's danger. I said, I am not that person. Maybe there's other people that are gifted in going out there and convincing people that their quality of life is not um, quality, that they
Mm-hmm.
are in
Right.
a state of oppression, they are in a state of, being under the thumb of others. I said
Right.
there are people out there who are great, and they're gifted at convincing people. I said, I'm not that person. I am the person that, after you've already confirmed for yourself, after you've already come to the 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 conclusion that,
Mm-hmm.
wow, this is the state of emergency, this is the state of where we are, and you're looking for someone to champion that for you, you're looking for someone to assist you, your children out of it. I said, that's me.
Yeah.
I come in, I said, I coach people who've already done the internal work of reality
Yeah.
versus well intentioned, or hoping and still in the land of, I wish it was,
Right.
right? I
Right.
said, I work best with those people who are no longer in a state of denial, or in a state of
Right.
still wishing and hoping, and they're in some nostalgia, back in the days, and they're still holding on to what was.
Right.
I am not for those clients, and the same again, I'm not for those citizens. I am for those that have reconciled that what was isn't.
Mm-hmm.
They have come to that, so much so that they're wanting a change. They
Right.
don't need anybody convincing them. That is who I am here to assist. So it's the
Right.
same with my coaching. I am not here to convince a mother or a woman that they're in a toxic relationship. I'm not
Yes.
here to tell you what the signs are and to pull you out and try to wake you up. No, 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 no. There are others in the industry that's what they're gifted. They're gifted in showing you the signs and waking, the women and the mothers, waking them up to the reality of, this is what your relationship is. I am
Right.
not that coach. So I tell people that how I coach is not to convince you that your relationship isn't toxic. When someone comes to me, they that my questionnaire, the question that I give them, is to identify that they already are aware, and they're
Right.
wanting support in leaving and staying out. That's when I
Right.
come in, because my coaching styles, or the homework that I give them, it's for those women and for those mothers who've already identified that they're in a toxic relationship and they need to leave. They're
Right.
not trying to fix it. They've come to the point that they know that it cannot be fixed. They've done everything, they've tried it, and now they need to leave. That is the best client coach relationship.
Mhm.
So I say all that to say, when you said that maybe the sibling, maybe the coworker, maybe the spouse, maybe they didn't see it, right? And they didn't see it,
Mhm.
and it's for you to reconcile, like, yeah, they didn't see it, and I'm not here to try to make them see it,
Mhm.
right? I am here to acknowledge that I see it, and I want
Exactly.
more. I want to be in a place of abundance of seeing that more. I want to, like, I know I'm valuable, they didn't see it. I know I'm
Right.
amazing, they didn't see it. I know that when
Right.
it comes to having people's back and loyalty, they didn't see it. I know anybody that
Yes.
calls me a friend, they're blessed and highly favored, because
Exactly.
I know who I am. Anybody
Yeah.
that has had me in their life, they are the ones who um, have been exposed to unconditional love and loyalty. They didn't see it,
Right.
but that is for them to later on in life look back and say, wow, you know what? I did have a loyal person. I did have someone that really truly had my back, right?
Exactly.
So it's not for you to go out there and try to open people eyes. Don't you see me? Don't you see I'm amazing? Don't you see this? Don't you see? No. It's for you to know that you are, and it's for you
Mhm.
to know that you deserve to be in a place and a space that sees that, and you're not there to try to convince people of who you are. You are just who you are, and you deserve to be in and around people and environments that see that in you, and they are so happy, they're joyous,
Mhm.
they're just elated that they have ethical in their group. They have
Mhm.
ethics. When they see you, they know that you're authentic. They love that, and they see that,
Exactly.
right? So when we're doing the gratitude, one of the things I would tell my clients is, what about you? Not,
Mhm.
because a lot of people come, they're already hurt, they're scarred, they're
Yep.
broken, right? They have mud all over their mirror, they have mud all over their face because of what's been thrown at
Yes.
them, right?
Yep.
They're broken and shattered into pieces because of how people mistreated them, right? And some of them are distorted. They don't even see themselves anymore because of how they've allowed people to abuse them, right?
Right.
So
Yep.
so my question is always, what do you see in you? And sometimes that
Mhm.
is so difficult depending on which category they are. Are they totally muddy? Are they totally broken? Or they totally distorted that they can't even see?
Right.
Right? And what I would say to them, okay, let me help you. What I see in you is a person who loves themselves. You know why? Because you're here. If you have
Right.
come to me for mirror work coaching, you have come to a place in your journey where you know that you deserve better. So let's start
Right.
from there, right? So
Yep.
and out of that conversation, we now could have 5 branches just from that acknowledgement. And then we can start piling on the gratitude just from that one acknowledgement, the gratitude that they were able to see that they need better. They were able to see that they deserve better. That means that
Mhm.
and that just blossoms. And by the time we finish our first session, they're able to have gratitude that they came in not even being aware that they even have more than one, right? So I just
Yes.
wanted to kind
Yes.
of just unpack that for anyone that's listening on the replay. When you made that statement that maybe, and you listed all the people that didn't see it, I was like,
Mhm.
yes, let's unpack that, because that's part of the scars and traumas that a lot of people have. The abandonment.
Exactly.
People didn't see me. They didn't
Yep.
value me. They misused me. They didn't, right? And it's acknowledging, yes, they didn't see you. And because you can say they didn't see you, you saw you. So let's start from
Right.
there.
Yeah, no, it's true. And it's amazing that you broke it down even further and expanded, because it is a lot of our stories, right? Like you can, there's something, some way, somehow that you can relate. And look, I mean, I will be the first to admit, and I've said it very transparent and openly, like I come from love, right? Were the dynamics perfect? No. Could I then still walk away and say that I wasn't shown love? No, right? Or that I wasn't made a priority? No, I can't. And so the nurturing that I received was beautiful, right? And I'm forever grateful, especially now because they've passed, right? So those vaults of memories are what help me to keep going. But even so, you break it down, Opa, and if I didn't understand the concept of gratitude, I wouldn't see that. I would just see what I've lost. Even though for me, what I've lost is just so great, right? There's still an opportunity to celebrate really wonderful things. And I know that not everybody comes from that story, right? And the important thing is to pull it all away and say, okay, so that wasn't your story. That wasn't your experience. She didn't show up for you. He didn't show up for you. They didn't show up for you. It didn't show up for you. Let's talk about you, though. Let's talk about what you can do. What would you do for you? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Because the great thing about being alive every day is that every day we have an opportunity to do a rewrite,
Yep.
right? We can rewrite what didn't work the day before or what didn't work the month before. And we can start from scratch, and we can put things in place that make sense for us, not from a space of hustle or catch up, but authenticity. So when you're able to break things down and see, like really truly see what you have in front of you or what's always been around you can start building from there, and you can start putting more things together from there, right? And what doesn't work, you shear it, you prune it, and what works, you keep it, right? So a lot of people are gardeners. I'm not a gardener. I can kill your plants. I'll be very clear about that. I'm not your person. So if you want to garden, and I don't like, I don't know what it is, but I think plants love me for what I can do with them.
Yes.
So they're just like you. Yeah, you don't have the green thumb, but you do have a healing thumb. So I'm going to work with you from a botanical stance. So when you really talk about what can work for like stomach aches, headaches, inflammation, I'm your person. But when it comes to like planting and like keeping plants alive, yeah, not my forte. And I'm good with it because I'm very clear. We have a very clear understanding of the role that we play in each other's lives. But I know enough to know that when you see like one stem of your in your flower pot that's like limping or wilted, and you try to revive it with water, maybe, some people throw in their little cocktails of what might work to keep the plants robust or the flowers robust, and it's not working. What do? You cut it off, right? You start to prune the plant because you want the plant to survive, but you don't want things that aren't thriving anymore to kill the rest. So you remove it. And it's a similar role and a similar thing when it comes to our lives and what what we can do to qualify better of it, right? So not just the story or the image or the experience of something that didn't work well for us, but we're moving forward to thrive, right? And not just surviving it, but living, vital, like your vitality is attached to it. There's oxygen attached to it. There's blood flow attached to it. There's laughter attached to it. There's joy attached to it. There's health attached to it. So many amazing things.
There is. And I just want to make sure that you were finished before I jump in, because it's
Yeah,
like I
that's
could,
it.
because I know you were listing, and I was
Yep,
like, you're absolutely right. There's a lot of things that's attached to it, and
yep.
I love like when you said getting out of the survival mode and going into the thriving mode. That is how you're into, or I would say, the thriving lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
That is how we're able to do that with the gratitude, because
Right.
many of us are in the survival mode because we are still thinking about all of the things that were done to us.
Mm-hmm.
And when we shift to gratitude and pull out of the toxic environments or the traumatic experiences, gratitude, we've now also shift our energy in how we are being in the situation. We're no longer in this survival mode of trying to survive people's expectations or trying to convince people to see us or
Mm-hmm.
value us. When you're able to shift from and taking out gratitude out of those environments, you're also shifting from being in this survival day by day. This is how I'm going to be treated. It is what it is. And you've now shift into a thriving lifestyle, because now you're also grateful. When you're taking gratitude out of a toxic relationship, you've now also identified that the relationship is toxic or the environment is toxic, and you're like, you know what,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to pull some good things out of this. And the fact that you're even doing that, you've you have identified the situation, so now you are requiring goodness out of it, including you getting out of it. And when you get out
Mm.
of it physically, out of, breaking the relationship, creating healthy boundaries, whatever it is that you're doing with that relationship or that environment, you're making sure you're not leaving empty handed. And empty handed doesn't always mean, okay, I'm gonna get money out of it. It's like you're making sure that you learned something, you got some positive things out of that. Because these
Mm-hmm.
negative situations and toxic situations want to win so much. They want to win where they make you leave in a negative. And this is when you're in survival mode, you're always in a negative. Your bank
Yep.
account, your emotional bank account is in a negative. Your health and wellness is in a negative. Everything is in a negative. when
Yes.
once you come out of survival mode, and coming out of survival mode, it's like which one comes first, the chicken or the egg, right? What it's like, which one do I like, what comes first, me identifying this toxic and getting gratitude out of it, right? Or is it me realizing that I deserve better and I want to get out of it, and then I take out of it what I'm grateful for. I tell people,
Right.
listen, it doesn't matter which order you want to do it in. The whole point is that you are not coming out of it in a negative.
Right.
It is not going to have your bank accounts in a negative. And
No.
that is when, again, the health and wellness plays into it, because that's also the emotional and the mental health. When you're in this survival mode, this I'm just here, I'm just it depletes you and it attacks your health and your wellness. And
Right.
this is why part of the mirror work coaching, I always incorporate detoxing. And when you talk about you as a formulator, like, you can't plant the greenery, but you know what to do with it. And I'm like, yeah, you're right, because you're an amazing formulator. And that is why we're able to work well, because when my clients fill out their form and we've identified the health and wellness issues on a physical level. This is what I'm like, okay, Althea, this is what the person is. And we're like, okay, yep. Everybody gets our detox regime, because part of detoxing physically, getting the toxins out of you, it also helps with
Mm-hmm.
the mental clarity. It also helps with that ability, your emotional bank account, your mental bank account. It starts to deposit back into it. It starts to now build back that bank account, right?
Right.
So that's
Yep.
why you are able to stand and you're able to make much more critical decisions, as in what your next steps are, what is the best out, your best out um, game plan, because you're able to think, you're able to calm down. We introduce so many different parts of the mirror work coaching. It's not just about, the mindset. It's about the physical. It is about the emotional, and it's also about the spiritual, which is energy,
Right.
right? So
Yes.
it's all encompassing. And when we do this, we call the mirror work, and someone's like, okay, well, what's mirror work? I'm like, well, mirror work, as you would think about the name, the mirror, is looking in the mirror and desiring for the image that you see is the image you deserve to see. So that is where we look at, what is it that you deserve you to be? What is the image? When you think of you, what is that image that you deserve, that you desire to be? And then we do a blueprint towards that image. And we identify on a health and wellness side, what's the image that you want,
Right.
right? The mental
Right.
health, the emotional health, and the financial health. What is the mirror image that you want you to look like? And then we do the blueprint towards that.
Which is beautiful. And the other thing, the last thing I'll probably add to this is what I also found fascinating is how quickly things turn around
Mm-hmm.
when you are exhibiting or expressing gratitude. So it's like, they were talking about how the earth is circulating so much faster. The frequency has risen. So if it took 17 seconds to manifest something, we're now looking at 12 seconds to manifest something. And so, that, they always have that term, like, careful what you wish for, kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
That very much applies, because it's like, when you do gratitude, it automatically puts you in a positive banking account, right?
Yep.
Like you were saying, everything's negative if you're in that space. But when you can be thankful for whatever it is, it can be as small as a pen when you needed a pen to write something down, or as small as the person saying, "Oh, do you need a pen? I have one," right?
Mm-hmm.
Or it could be as big as the lottery. It all depends on where you're at. And it doesn't matter, because it's the same energy. The same energy that brought the pen is the same energy that can bring the lottery. All we have to do is hold it. And so when we're in that space, things around us start to shift. Our universe looks different, right? And so it's it's about trusting, and also looking at it to say, I know right now I'm not in the greatest space, whether it be physically, mentally, wherever you're at, right? For various reasons. But I know that I'm grateful for being here, or being there, or being with him, or being with her, or my having children with him, or children with her, or spending
Mm-hmm.
time with my grandmother before she had to go into a nursing home, or I'm grateful that I got to see my friend's dog and spend some time with them,
Mm-hmm.
or it doesn't matter. I'm grateful for the person that held the door for me at the bank, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so you start creating this amazing vortex of only having the best things happen to you.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the key things is being sorry, is being able to see it,
Mm-hmm.
because we can all have like 5 million great things happen to us. And we can, if we're still doting in on, you know, whatever happened 3 years ago, and they remember that they never called you back to say sorry, and it's been 3 years now and they still haven't called to say sorry, you're literally stuck in 3 years ago. You're not present to all the great things that have happened to you since,
Mm-hmm.
right? And when you come from that space of really recognizing, wow, you know what? This was really awesome. I am great. Like I do appreciate that. That was an amazing experience. I'm so glad I had the opportunity to see it, to hear it, to feel it, whatever. It changes everything.
Mm-hmm.
And so your negatives start turning into positives.
Mm-hmm.
And a dollar starts turning into 10. And then 10 starts turning into 20, then 50, then 1,000, then 20,000, then
Mm-hmm.
10,000. And everybody has like a different like barometer of what it looks like for them to feel successful or better,
Mm-hmm.
but you'll hit it. You'll hit it if you allow yourself to.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, a big part of it is going inside,
Mm-hmm.
right? And going inside and no attachment, because that person that hurt you or said what they said to you or disrespected you or doesn't really see you, they may never see you.
Mm-hmm.
They may never see you for reasons that are out of their control now. They could be passed away. They could have transitioned, right?
Yeah.
But you're still here. And so if you want to live your days to the fullest and with joy and with contentment and have your heart feel full, that's on you,
Yep.
right? That's your choice. You got to put in the work. And it's not, and you're not putting in the work for the person that hurt you. You're putting in the work for yourself
Yeah, because you're
because you're
still
worth
here.
it and you're worth it.
You're worth it, and you're the one that's still here living the now.
Exactly.
And you want your now to begin to be beautiful. You're tired of again being in the survival mode. You want to now be
Exactly.
in the thriving. So you're doing the work not for them. You're doing it for you because you realize, like, listen, I deserve to be in this space. So you're doing the work
Mhm.
for you. In the chat here, thank you. Petro Caesar said, "Let us make man in our own image." Exactly. That is one of the. That is one of the inspired thought behind mirror work conversations and when I was doing mirror work coaching. Because again, just like I was saying,
Yes.
Petro, that's in the chat. Thank you so much for
Thanks,
coming in,
Petro.
right? Is that same thing when I said, you want to look in the mirror and you want to know, okay, I'm going to look in the mirror because this is the image I want. And it comes back to again the image that you desire, and all that is part of my coaching, Petro. Because it's one of those. I get clients that are religious and those that aren't. However, when I make the universal statement of what is the mirror image that you want to see for you in these categories, and I eventually get back to that statement that we were created in the image from a place of love, abundance, prosperity. When it said, let us make man in our image, what is that image that we were made in? We were not made like who was it that said our image? What was the characteristic of those image that statement said our image? What is the our? What is the image of
Mhm.
the our? What is the image of our own? When it says let us make man, meaning human, in our own image, what is the own image? What is that image? And for sure I know that image was not lack, because it created the world, it created greenery, it created the atmosphere, it created the oceans, it created the land, it created all creepy crawly things, there was no lack, it was not,
Yeah.
right? So what is the
Yep.
image? What is the image that said, let us make man, meaning human? So this is where it comes back to my clients. I have them look into a mirror and we start to write down what is the original image that created you and desired you to look like. Not what we look
Mm-hmm.
like now, as in everything that's happening. What was the intended mirror image of creation? The intended mirror image for was us to look like that statement. Let us make man in our own image. What was that original own image? Let's get back to that. So the mirror work is to assist. And I'm sorry, brother Petro Caesar. I don't know, Petro. It comes off as masculine. Um, so thank you for coming in the room. If you're masculine, my specialty is for the woman, because that's been my journey. That's the skin I've been in. However, I am a mother of three boys going to be men. So I ensure that they are the mirror image of what man, as in masculine, was and is supposed to look like. So when you hear me talk more to the female, it's just because my coaching is for women and mothers. However, as I say, I am a mother of three um, boys going into men, and now one of them is in the age of majority, to be in the age of majority as a man. So that image of making my clients write down and see. And when I say I make them see that the image that they are and how they come to me is not how we're going to graduate out of my coaching. They're going to graduate out of my coaching seeing their mirror image and continue their daily homework, their daily gratitude, their daily self care, in making sure that every day, as you just said, Althea, every day we're
Mm-hmm.
gifted the opportunity to be closer to that mirror image.
Exactly.
We might not have been the best image yesterday, the day before, last year, whatever, but today, right now, as you're listening to this podcast, you are hearing, and you might have that epiphany, or you might just hear it packaged in a different way and you're like, oh, I get it now. And every day you are given the ability to do a true reset back to that mirror original image of what man was to look like and be like, right?
Yep.
So thank you so much, Althea. I know I asked
You're
you for
so welcome.
45
Thank
minutes. It's
you.
We're going over. We're now an hour and seven, and I want to wrap up
Woo!
with this. Yeah, I just looked at it, and thank you for coming into the room, Petro Caesar. I appreciate you. Hope Wellness
Thank
Info
you,
also came
Petro,
in and sent in
Caesar.
a message fresh. Hope Wellness says great transparency, Althea. Um, and I wanted to end when it said, when you were talking about the gratitude, and some things that popped up was gratitude is the intentional desire to pull and see positive. When you're in a
Yes.
space of I am grateful. You are
Mm-hmm.
intentionally thinking about the scenario, the situation, whatever it is, and you're being intentional to desire that you pull out of this or you see out of this something positive. And then the ripple effect of when you now are intentional in your desire to pull something positive or see something positive, the ripple effect is that you become more aware of the positive that occurred during that toxic environment or that traumatic incident, because you're now desiring to pull, you're desiring to see a positive, you're now becoming more aware that there was positive. And then the ripple of that is now you begin to attract more positive, because your eyes and your vision is now programming out of survival. You're now in this thriving where you are now programming your optics to see positive moving forward tomorrow out of everything that occurs. And it's like a new car. When you get a new car, all of a sudden, all you see is that car. Before you bought the car, you weren't seeing your brand or your maker, your model. As soon as you buy that car, it's like everybody has that car, right? And you're like, hold on a minute,
Yes.
you're just seeing the car. It's the same thing with the positive energy. You start to attract positive energy as you become more
Hmm.
grateful, as you start
Yes.
doing the gratitude, because that is the ultimate ripple effect, is that you become that magnetism you talked about, where you start attracting it. Why? Because you're training yourself to see positive in every situation. So now all you're doing is looking for the positive. So positive is saying, oh my gosh, she's looking for me. Hey, I'm over here. Hi, hi, hi. All of a sudden, it's just coming to you. It's coming to you. And all you now see is the positive. And that's what came to me
Exactly.
as you mentioned that. And I wanted to wrap that up and put
Love
that
it.
in our ending of this
Love it.
episode number 3.
This is
Yeah.
fantastic. Thank you so much, Opa. You are wonderful. This was lovely. I look forward to our next chat.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
And, for everybody who is on, thank you again. And for the people that will hear the replay, yeah, just keep shining. It's not an easy road, but we can certainly get through it. And as we've been highlighting for this whole call, is that gratitude is like how breathing is essential for our survival and our day to day, and to help us really live. Gratitude is the other side to that, in terms of really being able to see the good in things, or things that we love, that make us smile. Those are the things to focus on, to get us through the tougher times. And then we find that the tougher times, they don't last as long, and there's so many more beautiful things to come, because it's just the energy that you're pulling in at this point.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. That
Thank
was
you,
beautiful.
darling.
That was beautifully well wrapped. I appreciate you. And
Thank
we look
you. You
forward
too.
as we have Brother Andy that's passing through. We have Brianna Kilpat that's passing through. We have Athanasia Zagas are passing through. So I'm endeavoring, and I spoke with Dr. Imad Gurgis. He's going to be coming through. Also, my my traditional Chinese medicine practitioner. I call him a doctor. I know the West don't like to call him doctors. I call him a doctor, Dr. Henry. He's going to be coming through. So we're going to have
Awesome.
some real powerful contributors to the Mirror Work Conversations. And I'm endeavoring it to be every Monday. And for those that can't do Monday, I'll be doing Tuesday until we can get a consistent day. But right now, we're just going with the flow. And I thank you for giving me over an hour of your time, Althea. You can check out Althea
Pleasure.
Fraser. Althea, as I said, she's a holistic practitioner out of Ontario, specifically out of Brampton. But you can reach out to her. Her information is on our site. If you go on hopewellness.info, if you click on partners, you're going to see Shea Essence as one of our partners. Althea is the founder and CEO of Shea Essence, and Althea is our in-house formulator that does all our customizing detox for all of our clients. So you're going to get to hear more of Althea. She's a powerhouse. Don't
Oh,
you know,
thank
like
you.
you I know you see her beautiful face. Trust me, this woman, when I was talking to my Simeon, my 12-year-old, because you're doing a formula for him, and he's like, "Is that Miss Althea?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "She's like a brainiac, like like you're
I love it.
like you're like a
Aw.
pretty geek." He's like, she's
Oh.
like she's a pretty geek because like you just
Oh.
know all this stuff, right? And it's a 12 year
Wow.
old, beautiful. I said, yes, she's a gorgeous geek. I'm like, she's a gorgeous
So
geek.
cute.
So
So cute.
so
That's
so
so
thank you. So
funny.
thank you so much.
Thank
Appreciate you,
you.
and I look forward to you coming back again on Mirror Work Conversations. Okay, my dear.
Yeah, likewise. Thank you again.
You're welcome, my dear.
All
Okay.
right. Have
Okay.
a great night.
You too,
Okay.
love. Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.
So thank you so much for hanging with us and still being here. Thank you for those that were watching. Petro Caesar, I appreciate you for um, your contribution. For those that are listening to this audio on podcast on Spotify, Anchor, and Google Play, and the other platforms that I'm going to be adding it to. We have a YouTube channel, Mirror Work Conversation YouTube channel. All of that could be found in my link tree link. So it's link tree slash Oprah Hope Day. You click on there and you'll see Mirror Work Conversation YT channel page. Yeah, you click on that and you can also listen to us on YouTube, and you could share our content on YouTube as well. So thank you so much. I appreciate you. We're endeavoring for our conversations to be between 45 to an hour. Um, and if the energy flows and we go longer, then we'll go longer. But we are endeavoring it to be 45 to an hour of powerful content. So we bid you adieu. I thank you. Please go over to hopewellness.info. Get so much information about your health and wellness. That's there. Financial wellness information, the quality of your water. All of these products are what myself and others, my partners, are using to help in the process of detoxing. Quality stuff. Part of my journey, 10-year plus conquer breast cancer diagnosis, 17-year plus conquer of fibromyalgia diagnosis. I'm going into my 4th year plus of conquering clinical depression and clinical anxiety. And there's a lot of other conquers under my belt. I've went through incest. I've went through abuse of power at the workplace, harassment at the workplace, narcissistic partnership, ended a very, very toxic marriage, mother of 4. Oh my gosh, like when I've done my mirror work, I was just like, girl, you went through some journeys. And I said, thank you. I'm grateful for every one of them because they all sharpened the muscle, and they now give me the ability to reach so many that has had one or more than one of those journeys. I have walked in your shoes and I'm on the other side of it. And I just want to share with you what I did and what worked for me. And on hopewellness.info, all of the products there I have used and my other partners have used, and we are living life on a thriving level. Your health is your wealth. I'm going to say that your health is your wealth. So head over to Hope Wellness Info. You get all the information on your quality of water, detoxing. There's a galaxy that's there. You click on that. There's a research article on the potency of that. I use that every day. Everything there is part of my maintenance routine. I'm doing more of an alternative maintenance, not the Western oncology maintenance. And as I said, I just did my full body scan and I am kicking butt 10 years and plus. So we're gonna have the doctor that did my full body scan go over my report is on Hope Wellness. I show everything. I listen. When you've conquered the things I've conquered, ain't no shame. There's some people that are afraid to say that they've conquered breast cancer. I'm like, okay, to each his own, but I'm not shaming anybody knowing that I had that diagnosis and that I kicked it. So on Hope Wellness, I just posted my most previous full body scan with my traditional Chinese medicine doctor. And so that he's gonna go over that. And also I did an indigo body biofeed. We're gonna post the results of that, and he's gonna walk through that. And I highly recommend everybody to get one of those scans once a year. And when you are part of the Hope Wellness membership, that comes with your membership. So you can click on hopewellness.info, go over to membership. You have a year membership, and after the year, you're a full-time member. And we have different packages, and each package is for the different journey or the different intensity that our clients want at the end of their their detox physically, mentally, spiritually, and financially. All right. So I bid you adieu. This is Lady O. Stay in action, faith, and possibility. Walk in and protect your light. Your purpose will find you. Say what you mean and live like you mean what you said. Remember, all things health, all things wellness, all things informational. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you.